Nissan Motorsport, more commonly known as Nismo, has made itself seen at Le Mans more than a handful of times, be it with the incredible but compromised Group C era insanity that was the R89C and the R90 CP, or the more recent daring insanity of the Delta Wing. Nismo is no stranger to racing. They had raced a modified Skyline in 1995 and quickly realised that a purpose-built racing machine was the only way to be competitive in the GT1 class, and so it began. This is the story of the Nissan R390 GT1. The late 90s were exciting times for Le Mans. Development was happening quickly, and Nissan, who had been running the Skyline GTR LM, quickly found themselves competing against purpose-built GT1 cars like the Mercedes CLK GTR and the Porsche 911 GT1. Though Nissan had never seen too much success in South, the dream never died, and work began to build something to prove Mazda wasn't the only Japanese brand capable of victory there. Nismo quickly sought the expertise of Tom Walkinshaw Racing to help develop the car. The Skyline GTR they had raced in 1995 had used an iron block inline 6-cylinder engine, archaic tech by the standards of GT1, and so step one was to replace this engine. Luckily, Nissan happened to have just the thing in storage, the aluminium V8 from the 1989 R89C Group C car. They modified it slightly, and the output came to a substantial 641 brake horsepower, a substantial power output for a car that only weighed 1,100 kilograms. Named in line with a 60s tradition that started with the R380, this new track monster was to be named the R390 GT1. The styling of the car was led by Ian Callum of Tom Walkinshaw Racing, while the mechanical and aerodynamic side of things was in the hands of the legendary Tony Southgate. The team wasn't given much time to develop the car, as was the way with most GT1 cars, simply due to the breakneck speed of technological advancement at the time, and so TWR had to search through its parts bins. It's no coincidence that the R390 bears some resemblance to the brutally quick Jaguar XJR15. In fact, much of the cabin was manufactured using the same tooling. That being said, it's important to clarify that the R390 wasn't just an XJR15 in some new clothes. Pretty much everything other than the cabin was completely different. The use of an existing engine and some of the tooling used to create the XJR15 meant that the R390 was developed extremely quickly, even by GT1 standards. But there was still one hurdle left to overcome: homologation. Yes, like many of the most insane cars of the late 1990s, the Nissan R390 was blessed with a road homologated production car. Unlike Mercedes and Porsche, however, who built a small number of customer cars in the form of the CLK GTR and the 911 GT1 Strassen version, Nissan didn't see the point in doing more than the absolute bare minimum, and so they only built one. It used the same 3.5 litre twin turbocharged V8 as its racing counterparts, though its power output was cut back to just 550 brake horsepower, all of which was directed to the rear wheels through a 6-speed manual sequential transmission. It was claimed that this road version could achieve a top speed of 220 miles per hour, but Nissan chose never to test this. The original 1997 car was painted red, but it was reworked in 1998 to update it with some of the changes made to the Le Mans cars, and at this time it was repainted to the iconic blue it is known for today. The R390 GT1 was ready for Le Mans 1997. Nissan had built and entered 3 cars into the event. Maybe this time they'd be successful, they thought. It didn't start out well. They ran into problems before the cars had even seen the track. All cars that race at Le Mans must be inspected by the ACO prior to the event, to ensure compliance with the regulations of their class. All 3 of the R390s failed this scrutineering due to what Nissan called a quote, misunderstanding about the regulations. This resulted in last-minute modifications to the cars to make sure they would be able to compete, but of course, this didn't go well. Despite a strong qualifying performance, the R390 was doomed to fail. The modifications done to the rear of the car to bring it in line with the regulations meant that all 3 cars were plagued by cooling difficulties, primarily for the gearbox. This issue forced 2 of the 3 cars to retire from the race, and the last car standing unsurprisingly also suffered transmission issues, but soldiered on to finish the race in 12th place. Despite the setback, the R390's qualifying performance had instilled hope in Nissan that 1998 could be different, and so they made sure to read the rules properly and they gave it another shot. For 1998, the cars were modified to increase downforce. This was done by lengthening the bodywork at the rear, installing a brand new rear diffuser, and changing the position of the rear wing in order to try and reduce drag on the straights. Nissan chose to race 4 of these new modified R390s in 1998, and no doubt kept their fingers crossed that the previous year didn't repeat itself. This time they all passed the ACO checklist. Turns out that reading the rules can be advantageous after all, and so they were ready to race. The R390s were easily beaten by their rivals Mercedes and Porsche during qualifying, but put on a good show nonetheless. On race day, all 4 managed to finish, coming 3rd, 5th, 6th and 10th overall, beaten only by the monstrous Porsche 911 GT1. Following 1998, the rules were changed, effectively killing the GT1 class and making way for LMP and LMGTP starting in 1999. Nissan left the sport for over a decade following 1998, only returning in 2011. Tom Walkinshaw Racing and Tony Southgate had seen great success at Le Mans a decade before the Nissan R390. You can watch my video about the incredible Jaguar XJR9 here. Thank you for watching.